ChatGPT 5.3 Instant. Everything you need to know. You've been using ChatGPT wrong. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because the tool itself has been driving you crazy and you didn't even know there was a fix. You type a simple question, and instead of just answering it, ChatGPT lectures you, tells you to breathe, assumes you're in crisis, refuses to answer things it absolutely should answer. Sound familiar? You're not alone. And OpenAI just did something about it. Hey, I'm Christina, your AI educator, and in this video, I'm breaking down everything you need to know about the brand new GPT 5.3 instant update that just dropped on March 3rd, 2026. What changed? Why it matters? What's actually better now and what's coming next? Because there's a big hint about the next update you'll want to hear about. Stick around because I'm covering all of it. So let's start with why this update even exists. Because if you've been using ChatGPT over the last few months, you've probably noticed something frustrating. You ask a normal question and the model responds like you just told it your life is falling apart. Things like stop, take a breath, or long disclaimers before answering something completely reasonable, or refusing to help with something totally safe. It got so bad that people were canceling paid subscriptions. There were huge threads on Reddit about it. Users felt like the model was treating them like they couldn't handle information. It felt condescending, and it broke the whole flow of using the tool. This is what OpenAI was calling a problem with tone, relevance, and conversational flow. And here's the thing. Those problems don't show up in benchmarks. You can't test for cringe in a standard AI evaluation. So even if a model scores well on paper, it can still feel awful to actually use. That's the gap GPT 5.2 Instant had, and GPT 5.3 is directly addressing it. So what's actually new? Let me walk you through the real changes. The biggest one is tone. GPT 5.3 cuts back on unnecessary proclamations and emotional projecting. The model no longer assumes you're in crisis because you asked a productivity question. It just answers you, like a knowledgeable person would. That alone is a massive improvement for anyone using this daily. The second change is around refusals. GPT 5.2 was refusing things it absolutely didn't need to refuse. The new model significantly reduces that and tones down what OpenAI called overly defensive or moralizing preambles. So instead of a 2-paragraph lecture before the answer you wanted, you just get the answer. Third, web search results are better. GPT 5.3 does a better job of synthesizing information from the web, giving you richer and more contextualized answers. It's not just pulling snippets anymore, it's integrating what it finds into a more coherent response. Really useful if you're pulling together research, writing reports, or staying current on fast-moving topics. Fourth, fewer hallucinations. OpenAI ran 2 separate internal evaluations. The first focused on high-stakes domains, medicine, law, and finance. There, GPT 5.3 reduces hallucinations by 26.8% when using web search and 19.7% on internal knowledge alone. The second looked at real user-flagged conversations. Hallucinations dropped 22.5% with web search and 9.6% without. The biggest gains come when web search is on. Worth knowing if you're using ChatGPT for research. Still not perfect. Always verify important info. But these are real, documented improvements from OpenAI's own data. And fifth, writing quality. GPT 5.3 is better at producing resonant, imaginative prose. OpenAI specifically called out fiction writing, refining passages, and exploring creative ideas. So if you use ChatGPT for scripts, stories, emails, this version should feel noticeably sharper. Now, when I started figuring out how to actually use all of these updates effectively instead of just playing around with them randomly, I found a community that helped me move a lot faster. It's called AI Profit Boardroom. Over 2,000 members all focused on learning AI together and sharing what actually works. When I was overwhelmed trying to keep up with every new model drop and figure out what changes actually matter for real work, this community gave me clarity. People share real use cases, real workflows, real comparisons between what's actually useful and what's just hype. If you're serious about using AI to improve your work and skills, check it out. Link in the description. Okay, back to GPT 5.3. Let's talk about availability. GPT 5.3 Instant is already rolling out to all ChatGPT users right now, free users included. You don't have to do anything special. Next time you open ChatGPT, it should be there. For developers, it's available in the API under the name GPT 5.3 Chat Latest. If you're on a paid plan and still want the old model, GPT 5.2 Instant will stay available as a legacy option until June 3rd, 2026, before it gets retired. One important thing to know, this update is specifically to the Instant model, the everyday conversational version most people use. The Thinking and Pro versions haven't been updated to 5.3 yet. OpenAI said those are coming soon, so if you're a heavy Pro user, stay tuned. And here's something interesting. Barely an hour after releasing GPT 5.3, OpenAI posted on X, just 4 words. 5.4 sooner than you think. That's intentional. References to GPT 5.4 had already started appearing in their code repository and even briefly in the model selector before 5.3 was officially announced. We don't know what 5.4 will bring yet, but updates that used to take months are now coming in weeks. I'll be covering it the moment we have real information. Subscribe so you don't miss that. One thing I want to add here that I think gets overlooked, the tone and refusal changes aren't just quality of life improvements, they actually change what you can use ChatGPT for. A lot of people have built workarounds, extra prompt engineering, jailbreak-style phrasing, just to get normal answers out of the model. You shouldn't have to do that. And with 5.3, a lot of that friction is gone. You can write more direct prompts. You can ask follow-up questions without the model resetting its whole personality. You can get into a real back and forth without it suddenly becoming a therapist halfway through. That makes a real difference for anyone using this tool seriously for work. The personality consistency piece is also worth highlighting. OpenAI has been pretty open about the fact that past updates accidentally broke the model's character. Users would notice the same ChatGPT they used one week felt completely different the next, swinging between overly cautious and overly agreeable. GPT 5.3 was specifically engineered to hold a consistent identity across conversations and across updates. That's not a small thing when you're trying to build reliable workflows around it. So practically, what should you actually do with all of this? First, try the tasks you gave up on. If you stopped asking ChatGPT certain things because it kept refusing or getting weird, try again. The unnecessary refusals have been significantly reduced. Second, turn on web search for research. The hallucination improvements are biggest when search is active. Don't just rely on internal knowledge for anything important. Ask it to search and synthesize. Third, use it for writing. Give it a specific style, a specific tone, a passage to refine. The creative writing improvements are real and worth testing. And fourth, appreciate the consistency. GPT 5.3 was built to feel stable across conversations, less of that unpredictable weirdness where it feels like a completely different tool depending on the day. That matters when you're building workflows around it. Here's the bigger picture. What GPT 5.3 represents isn't just a bug fix. It's OpenAI responding directly to what users complained about. The fact that they explicitly talked about reducing the cringe in their own announcement shows they're paying attention to the human experience of using the product, not just benchmark scores. And the models that win long-term won't just be the most technically capable, they'll be the ones that are genuinely pleasant and useful to work with every single day. If you want to dive deeper into AI tools and actually implement them in your work, I recommend AI Profit Boardroom. Over 2,000 people learning how to use AI effectively. Everyone shares real experiences. What's working? What's not? Which tools are worth your time? Which ones to skip? No hype. Just solid information and practical guidance from people doing the work. It's helped me stay on top of updates and figure out how to actually apply them. Link in description if you want to check it out. And if you want the full process, SOPs, and over 100 AI use cases like this one, join the AI Success Lab. Links in the comments and description. You'll get all the video notes from there, plus access to our community of 58,000 members who are crushing it with AI. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.